I haven't been outside in 10 days, so I'm going to touch some grass and share some thoughts about creativity. The thing about creativity is that when you spend it alone, isolated in your room, as I was doing, you end up getting so inside your head. I could not finish a day feeling like I had done any work. I couldn't come up with any new ideas. I couldn't be myself, and I was just getting so frustrated. And I ended up talking in circles. And I know that feeling is happening to me when I start feeling like a anime character, when I feel like, oh, like everything is like a challenge. That's when I know things are getting bad and I'm really getting stuck in my head. I was writing this grand plan for like everything to work out. It was so embarrassing that I started a literal new journal for this too. Usually stuff looks really bad when you come back and look at it 10 years later, but this was literally stuff I wrote yesterday. I already can't read it. Like, here's an exercise I thought would be cool to do, but this is how I wrote it. If I gave you a blank piece of paper, what would you do with it? Would you draw, paint, write? Maybe you don't see the paper as a medium. You fold it, crumble it, drag it around. Eventually you get tired of playing with the paper. Maybe there's no more space on it, or maybe there's just no more paper at all. Look what you've done. You've got out and used your hands. Was that so hard? Like, it's so bad. And that's just how creativity and like making things work. Like, you write some really bad things, but I think that helped in a really terrible way, because I feel like you have to put ideas in a book or in your notes app or on a napkin or something. Like, not every thought is gonna be an idea that even gets made into anything, but at least it got written down. Now, resistance. What is talked about by Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art. Don't prepare, begin. Our enemy is not a lack of preparation. The enemy is resistance, our chattering brain producing excuses. Start before you're ready. That hits pretty deep for a lot of creatives, and I think we know that we are our own worst critic. We know that we are our worst enemy. I feel like it was very well illustrated in that time I spent in my room. Like, I was overthinking everything and I couldn't create. The type of resistance that I felt was fear. I felt a lot of fear that this is going to be a waste of time, that the creative journey is useless. But really, I was worried that I'm not good enough to be sitting here in front of a camera talking to you guys. And that was a whole bunch of resistance. So I feel like that was something that I said in one sentence and it feels like I got it, but it's still something that is a big piece of resistance, which is an inevitable part of the creative process. This is exactly the type of grass that I was looking for. It is just like the most perfect type of grass I can think of. Such exciting grass. My super exciting thing to share is from the book Steal Like an Artist. The secret is to do good work and share it with people. The first one is quite subjective, the second is quite literal, but being able to do both of them is so much more difficult than most of us think. Like, what it takes to make a good video. They take a lot of sharing the bad things. As much as I hate to say it, like, I have to share my bad videos with, of course, you guys, because that is how things are gonna get better. And it is so loud, but as much as I love grass, I think I love water even more. So I'm just taking a quick water break, and that is our collective reminder to drink some water. One benefit, I guess, to being locked inside my room was that I got to absorb a lot of content, which I do feel like is a really important part of the creative process. And I feel like it's just so hard to not get stuck in that, because you get so lost in the sauce, as my good friend says, that you don't know how to create anything anymore. You don't know like what to start doing. And I really started to feel that way about myself. And then that just got me feeling so lost, so down. But you gotta fish yourself out of there at some point, because you also need to get back to creating. This grass was quite inspiring. I haven't been outside in so long that I forgot it's literally autumn. So all the leaves have changed and I haven't seen it yet. This is such a nice thing. Though this place makes me feel like I am in a quite literal cage, it is quite a good place to have a little bit of a deep conversation. I think what myself and other creative people struggle with is not just resistance, but also motivation. I think they affect each other in one way or another, but I wouldn't say they're quite the same obstacle. Like having no motivation, I don't need to explain to anyone. The way I've been thinking about motivation is to not think about it as something you have or don't have. What I've learned about not having motivation is I can't force myself to have it. So I think at that point when I feel like motivation is my friend that is super, super far out in the distance, I just let it be. If you don't have motivation, don't complain about it. The more you complain about it, the more you're gonna think that it's not there and there's something wrong with you. Like there's nothing wrong with you. Like I just try to forgive myself and take a break, but that is something that is so hard to do and is obviously something I'm working on as well. And yeah, in case it wasn't already painfully obvious enough, the last thing I would say about my thoughts on creativity recently is that you gotta go touch some grass. Thanks for watching this video and touching some grass with me. I'll see you next week. Thanks, Cam. Something that I keep forgetting is that if I walk somewhere, I have to walk back. So I had done this whole video and walked around like pretty much an entire neighborhood, and I'm still so far from the car, and I just keep forgetting that I need to walk back. And as you can tell, it's like windy and the weather is like completely different. So I'm getting kind of cold, but anyways, there's your tidbit, happy, almost spooky season moment.